You're listening to the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast with Chicago attorney Dave Scriven-Young. This podcast is brought to you by Anchor, which is the app that I use to record and edit the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, so let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 217 of the Lawyer Lifestyle Podcast for June 3rd, 2020. My name is Dave Scriven-Young, an attorney from Chicago, Illinois, and I'll be your host. This podcast takes you on a daily journey to discover key principles in the areas of marketing, sales, and leadership for attorneys. So, two things for today. The first is yesterday, I participated in the Blackout Tuesday event, which essentially was a way to show support for my African American friends and the protest and the movement that is going on. And the intent of it was to provide a space and a voice for those who were, they needed to be heard. My voice did not need to be heard yesterday. But the voice of my black friends needed to be. So I provided them that space. And, part of it was, you basically put a, picture of a black box or a picture that was all black in your social media. Some people left a hashtag, some people didn't. I basically just said, I'm going to be listening today. And trying to understand what's going on. So I learned a couple of different things. Number one, I learned that it was hard. It's hard to be quiet. So many times I wanted to, post something myself or comment on something that somebody else wrote. Found that to be difficult because I'm usually the one who wants to lead a conversation or at least contribute to it. But I was just listening. And I heard a lot of, what I listened to were a lot of various and diverse voices. One of which was somebody on Twitter who basically said, you really shouldn't be, basically judging the people who were participating in this because, the movement isn't about being quiet. The movement is about using your voice, and you have to use your voice to stand up for African Americans. And other people saying, well, you can't use Black Lives Matter as your hashtag because it dilutes, or because when people look for that hashtag, then people don't find what they need. They find these, black pictures. So I found that to be fascinating that even though, people, around the country were attempting to show solidarity and to help the situation. Even they were, judged and, told that what they were doing wasn't right. And then, just a lot of other perspectives on, how to be, what we should be doing, who I should be for, who I should be against. So many different theories out there, so many different arguments out there. And I guess what I learned the most is I need to listen more. I need to listen more and try to understand, even though there are maybe contradictory messages, certainly understanding where everyone is coming from and giving everyone empathy is the way to go. So even though it was difficult to not jump into a conversation, I think it was definitely beneficial for me, and hopefully beneficial to my black friends. So the message for today from John C. Maxwell's book Leadershift is um, how to encourage people, and it's really the last portion of the communication strategy is on going from directing to connecting. And really, if you are simply directing somebody, then you're not really providing them encouragement. You're just telling them what to do. You might tell them nice job when they follow what you have to say and what your advice is, but you're not really encouraging them and providing them the space that they need. And the one image that Dr. Maxwell used is, he talks about how, when he's on stage, he has a choice to either be a sage on the stage or a guide by their side. And a sage looks down on others and tries to impress them with wisdom. A guide comes alongside, shares the journey, and encourages them to go the distance with them. I don't want to impress others. I want to connect with them and help them. And what that made me think of was like a tour guide. And usually the best tour guides are not the ones that, have a big speech about, different parts of history and what a particular piece of artwork means. But it's someone who essentially shares the experience with you, and somebody you can look to as sort of expert in that area, but also somebody who is just enjoying it and as much as you. And no matter how many times they may have been on this, bus or cruise or tour or what have you, that they find new things about it and that they love it as much as you do. And what they really want to do is to show you the best way so you can enjoy it, and share in their love for a place. The one time that I really remember that happening was my wife and I took a cruise to the Caribbean, and we did the Dunn's River Falls in Jamaica, and then afterwards we went on this boat tour, which essentially was a booze cruise, but it wasn't billed that way, of course. But they had Caribbean music, and they had drinks, and they had all sorts of stuff. And I just remember that in particular. I'm not typically a person who drinks a lot. I'm not typically a person who likes to even relax a lot, just because of my nature. I'm just a go-go person, especially on vacation. I want to go see things. I want to go do things. But I think what I enjoyed about that experience in particular were our guides, where they were sitting back and enjoying themselves just as much as we were. And you could really tell that we were we were sharing in their love for Jamaica, their love for the ocean, their love for the beaches, and it was quite a time, a great time that we had. And so I like to think about that. Another part of that, actually, on that same cruise right before that, is we did some snorkeling, and it was the first time that I had ever snorkeled. And so I had on the life vest, and because I don't swim very well, and my the guide actually pulled me along because he could tell I was so not frightened, but just very apprehensive about doing this. So he took me along and told me where to look and how to put on the life vest and all sorts of things. I mean, I was 20 something at the time, so it was I'm sure it was kind of weird for him that this guy had never had this type of experience before, but I just hadn't. But he was really great, very encouraging, and that's what I think all of us want to be in terms of if you want to connect with people. You want to be that tour guide through life who takes you by the hand or takes you by the life vest and shows you all the great things in life, and says you could do it. Whether it's whatever dream you have, whatever goal that you set, you want somebody next to you to help you and to encourage you and to be that guide. So what I really that's really the image that spoke to me most about what Dr. Maxwell is saying. I think we all can use more encouragement. And actually, that was the other thing that was interesting. He talked about Abraham Lincoln, and when he died, he was found with a lot of things, but one of them was a newspaper clipping that proclaimed Abe Lincoln is one of the greatest statesmen of all time, and he commented that, wow, even this president of the United States needed to be constantly reminded that he was someone who was worthy and someone who was, great. Maybe he was an egomaniac. I don't think so. I think it was just somebody who appreciated being encouraged and needed to be encouraged. All of us can use some encouragement, whether that's someone in your family or someone in your firm, someone in the community. So get out there and encourage more people. Be their guide through life. So I want you to think about, for your daily action item, about a person that needs encouragement, and it could be going through these riots and these protests, and the racial injustice. Maybe you need to encourage people in the African American community. You need to encourage your Black friends. Maybe you just need to encourage yourself. But certainly, there's someone that you can encourage, and you should encourage and needs encouragement. So for your daily action item, I want you to write that person's name down, send them a text, send them an email, talk to them today. That's your daily action item. So I encourage you to join in the discussion. You can leave me a voicemail by going to anchor.fm/attorneydsy, hitting that message button. You can leave me a comment to play on the show or a question for me to answer. You can also leave me a comment or question on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at AttorneyDSY. I'm also on LinkedIn on my personal profile. So let me know if you have any comments about this episode. Tell me what you think about this podcast, or give me a topic you'd like to hear about. This podcast is on all of the major podcast distribution platforms, so please be sure to subscribe and rate and review. It really helps. And if you want to give me some encouragement, that would be great as well by giving me a review. I also want to invite you to the next session of the Lawyers Emotional Intelligence Book Club. We're going to be continuing on with Dr. Chatterjee's book, The Stress Solution. The next session will be Thursday, June 4th at 8:30 p.m. Central. You can find out more at facebook.com/lawyersEQ. Have a great day or night, and remember to fight for the lifestyle that you want and become the rainmaker that you need to be.